Hello everyone, in this video we are gonna build this simple to-do app. As you can see, we have a simple functionalities where we can create a new task, we can delete the task, and also we can check the checkbox when we are done with the task. So let's get started and create this. This is where we are going to get started. So inside my main.dart, I imported homepage class from pages inside a homepage.dart, as you can see. So let's go to homepage.dart, and here I have, and there is nothing special. Basically, there is a blank scaffold. So this is where we are going to get started. So inside a scaffold, let's just first create an app bar. Let's give a title, and for the tags, let's say simple to do. And now if I save it, you see the simple to do. Now let's give the background color for this app bar, colors.deep purple. And if I save it, you see we have a background color, but I want to change this text color to the white. So for this we can give the foreground color, colors.white. Save it. You see now we have a white foreground color. Now let's give the background color to this scaffold. Background color, colors.deep purple, and shade would be 300. Now we'll see some differences between app bar and body, the scaffold. So now let's just add a const here, and let's just now move on to the body part. So inside a body, what we want, basically we want to create a containers, some to-dos. So for that we can use the list view. Basically, specifically the list view.builder, and this actually gets this list view.builder actually gets the item builder. So for the item builder, let's add a build context, and comma. We also need to specify the index, and this will returns the item. So we don't have any items yet, we need to create a one here. So let's create a list, let's name it to-do list, and inside this list let's create another list, and let's say learn web development, for example. And we also need to specify the boolean, which is for this checkbox. We will add also some checkbox. And let's create one more. Let's say learn, let's say drink coffee. Let's just remove the web development and say Flutter. And now we will remove this const, and here inside a list view.builder there's two things that we need to specify. One is item builder, which we have already specified. The another one is item count. So item count would be to-do list dot length. So based on this to-do list length, it will build this list view. And for the return, we want to return the container, and for the container we'll add a child, and for the tags we basically need to specify this to-do list index, which is 0, right? Now if I save it, you see there is a learn Flutter and drink coffee. Let's just add some style to this container. I'm going to give some padding, and for the padding let's say 20. Now we will change it later, but you can see we have some padding. If I give the container colors dot say deep purple, if I save it, now you see we have a deep purple color of the container. Now I'm going to give some padding for this container. This dot all 20. And if I save it, you see we have some paddings of this container. Now let's just style this text because it's very small and color is black. So after to-do list, I'm going to add a style, text style, and first let's change the color, colors.white. And next we need to change the font size, maybe 18. And if I save it, Now you see we have a beautiful container with a text. And now let's just change these sharp corners to some border radius. Here I'm going to add inside a container, I'm going to add a decoration, and it will be box decoration. And make sure you put the color inside this decoration, otherwise you'll get an error. So inside a decoration we have a border radius dot circular, and it will be 15. I save it. Now you see we have some border radius, have a learn Flutter and drink coffee. But here you see in the middle of these two containers we have a huge padding. So let's just remove this. So in order to remove that, we can come to this padding which we wrap at this container. Instead of all, let's say only, and just top would be 20, left would be 20, and right would be 20, and finally bottom will be 0. And now we add the comma here, and if I save it now, you see the padding we have just removed the padding in the middle. So now we can see the beautiful UI. I hope so, it's beautiful. Not that beautiful, but it's, I think, the normal, right? Now let's just add the cons to remove these warnings. I don't like to see them, Now let's just separate these, the styles that we have inside this list.builder. I'm going to grab this padding, copy and remove from here. I'm going to create a separate folder for that. So inside a lib folder, we want to create another folder which is utils. Inside a utils, I want to create to-do list.dart, and here let's import package Flutter from material.dart. Let's create a stateless widget, and let's say to-do list, and we'll return this padding. I save it. Now you see we are getting some errors, but don't worry, we're gonna actually solve these problems. So inside a return, let's just import this create to-do list class, and you can see it will automatically import the package simple to do. Inside a utils, we have a to-do list.dart. Now let's go to to-do list.dart, and here let's just create, let's make it dynamic. So for that, I guess it's the dynamic, or I don't know the arguments, the constructor, let's say parameters, right? And here we first create a final string task name. For the task name, right, let's just learn Flutter and drink coffee. And now I need to add one more thing, and let's just remove this one more thing because you might confuse now. Let's just add a final parameter here, task name, and here we will remove the to-do list index 0, and we basically add a task name. And here inside a homepage.dart, inside a list, we have a task name which is to-do list index 0, right? If I save it now, if I refresh that, you see we don't get any errors, and we see the learn Flutter and drink coffee. So if you add one more list, and let's say for example code with autoback, and if I save it, you see we will see the one more container. The reason why it's doing is that because we have a list.builder, so this list.builder is building the list based on this list that we have just created. Okay, so we can just now remove that. I hope you understand it. Now let's create the checkbox in the left side of this the container in the string, which is learn Flutter or drink coffee. So for this, let's go to to-do list, and let's inside a container we have a child, and let's wrap this text widget with the row. And inside a row, first let's create a checkbox, And this checkbox parameter will take, you know, two things like value and unchanged. Let's create this here inside a stateless widget. I'm going to create a final bool, and it will be task completed. And one more thing for the function, final function, it will be boolean, and let's say it will be delete function, right? No, it's, let's say unchanged, and let's create these constructors, save it, and here I'm going to, for the value, it will be task completed, and for our unchanged function we added unchanged. If I save it and if I go back to homepage.dart, and here we can add a task completed, and for this we need to add a to-do list indexed 1, right? Here we have the to-do list. Index 0 would be this string, and index 1 would be this bool, false. And now we need to add one more thing, which is function. But before that, let's just save it and see that. If I save it and see that, you see we have a checkbox. You can see we cannot if I click on this checkbox, we cannot, you know, check it or uncheck it. The reason why is that because we haven't created the function that we have just created, which is unchanged. So now let's go and create that, which is unchanged. So for unchanged, let's create let's give some value to this, and let's create a function called checkbox change it, and this will takes basically the index. Now let's copy this checkbox change it, and here inside a home page I'm going to create a function checkbox change it, and we need to specify integer index, and here inside a checkbox change it, what we want, we need to specify to-do list index 1 when it's not equal to to-do list index 1. So if I now refresh this page and click on this checkbox, it will not work. Can you guess and write in the comment why it's not working? Because now I will give the solution, but before that, let's just stop the video and give the solution, the solution in the comment section. So the reason why it's not working is that because we are using stateless widget and we are not changing the state. So in order to change the state, we need to first actually change the stateless widget we need to convert it to a stateful widget, and after that we need to wrap this to-do list. Let's copy that and set state and paste it inside a set state. And now if I refresh this page and click on this, now we can see, we can click and we can see the checkbox, it's clickable, right? Now let's give some style to this checkbox. Here I'm going to set a checkbox, I'm going to add the color, which is the check color, colors.white. I check it, you see it's white now, but let's refresh this first. And let's also add a fill color, colors.white. And there is also active color, colors.white. I'm going to remove this fill color, and now you see we cannot see the check color because we added the white. Let's make it black, and now you see. Now we also wanted to change this border side color to the white, so for this you can add a side, border side, and inside of border side we can specify the color, colors.white. And now we can save it and refresh. You see we have a border side color white. Now we can click on checkbox and we can uncheck it. So the next thing is, before the next thing, let's just remove these warnings. I don't like to see them. So now next thing is, we need to, when we check this checkbox, we just want to, the line through, which means that we have done this task. So in order to do that, we can come to this text decoration, text widget, and inside the style there is a decoration, and for the text decoration we can add dot line through. And if I save it, even if we don't check this checkbox, it will line through, because we need to add a condition. So when we check this checkbox, it should line through, otherwise it should be text decoration dot none. So for this we created already the boolean, which is task completed. So we can use this boolean here. So when task completed, what was the name? Let's just remove this const because it will not work. Task completed, we will use ternary condition. When the task is completed, we want the text decoration dot line through, and otherwise text decoration dot none. I save it and refresh this page again, and if I click on this checkbox, you see we have a line through. If I uncheck it, you cannot see that. But I want to change some style of this line through. For example, based on your preference, you can give any color. I just want another color, maybe decoration colors dot white. Which one is better, black or white? I feel like white is better. Let me know in the comments. So I also want to change the thickness of this line. There is a decoration thickness. I want to make it 2. So again, I'm saying it's not really necessary to to follow my the UI. It's your preference. You can change it whenever you want. So now we are done with also checkbox. So now the next thing is, we want to add some the button here in the bottom. So we want to add more to-dos, more tasks. So for that, let's go to home page, and inside the home page we have the app bar and we have the body. So after the body, we want to create a floating action button. And for this floating action button, we have a floating action button widget, and this will require onPressed. I'm going to make it blank now. And now you see we have a floating action button. Let's create an icon, icons dot add. And now this icon we need to add inside a child actually. And if I save it now, you see we have an add icon. But when we press this icon button, we don't see anything. But we will write some condition function inside onPressed. But before that, let's just also add some text field here on the left side of this function. So for that, inside a floating action button, we need to wrap this floating action button widget with a row. And before floating action button, we need to actually create a text field. But when I create a text field and save it, it will disappear. So we need to wrap this text field widget with another widget, which is expanded. And now if I save it, you will see the text field as well as the button. So now let's give some style, because it looks very bad now. So let's wrap this text field with the padding, and let's say not all, but let's say symmetric, horizontal, maybe 20. And if I save it, you see we have some padding on the left side and right side. And inside a text field, let's give some style. First, let's let's use the decoration. Inside a decoration, we have an input decoration. Input decorations. Inside of the input decoration, we want to enable a border. So enable border, outline input border, and inside that we want the border side you want a border side, you can also add a border side. For example, border side, we have a colors.white, just an example, but we will change it later. Now you see the border side, and we can also add a border radius dot circular 15. I save it. Now you see we have a actually we have also border radius. Now we want to add also focused border. If I click on this is focused border. You see we don't have a nothing, so we can basically copy this enabled border and paste it and change it focused border. And now inside a decoration, input decoration, we want to add a color. So first let's just add a fill it through, and towards the fill color, I want colors dot deep purple dot shade maybe 200. Now you see we have a fill color. Now we want to change this border side color maybe deep purple, because white doesn't look good. Deep purple. If I save it, now you see have a beautiful text field. I hope so, it's beautiful. Now let's just remove these warnings. So now we have we have the text field and we have the button. Now we need to add the logic, but before that let's just give some hint to this text field. For example, there is a inside a decoration, I guess there is a hint text. Let's just add more, add new to do items. Add a new to do items. You see we have a hint. Now let's just add the logic. So when we press this function, we want to create more to-dos. So for that we can come to this floating action button, and here as you can see that we have an unpressed function. So here we will add a function name, let's say save new task, and we can come here and create this function. So void save new task, and we create a set state. Set a set state, we want to add a to-do list dot add, want to create a new item. So for that we need to get the user input. So to get the user input, we need to create a controller inside a text field. So for this basically what I want to do is that I want inside a text field, it's my text field. So here I have a text field, you can see. So inside a text field, if I write a controller, we have a controller property. So we need to create this controller here inside the homepage state, final controller, text editing controller, and we need to specify this controller here. It's a private, you can see controller. And now we need to, when we add this to-do list, we want to add the controller dot text, basically what the user types here, and we can add a column. And now if I save it and write a new to-do item, for example new to-do added, and if I click on this add, you see we are getting a range error. The reason why is that we need to add here the integer because we need to basically add here we have two properties, right? We have the control.text, we have a string, and we have also checkbox, right? We almost forgot the checkbox. So we can add a column and say false. Now if I save it, and here if I add a new item, if I click on add, you can see we have added a new item. We can also check this and uncheck it. But you see we have still the text we have added, so we want to remove that. How can we do that? So after the to-do list.add, we can add controller.clear. And now if I refresh that page, and if I add a new to-do added, if I save it, if I added this function, you see it will disappear because we are using controller.clear. So that's it. This is how we can create or save a new task. Now we want to delete the task. So how can we do that? So in Flutter, we have the package called Slidable package. So you can either add the delete icon here inside a container, or we can make it slidable. I want to make it slidable. So for that, we have a slidable package, as I told earlier. So now let's go to Slidable package. So if you type Flutter Slidable package, you will see the Flutter Slidable. So let's go and install this Flutter Slidable. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to pubspec.yaml, and after the Cupertino icons, I want to add it, and make sure you get run flutter pub get. You see I have already done that. Now we are going to go to to-do list, and inside a to-do list we have a container. So this container actually covers checkbox, new to-do items like the strings. We want to add the slidable action at the end of this container. So for that, let's wrap this container widget with another widget, and we will call this slidable. And this slidable widget includes, the another thing, which is and action pane. And for the action pane, there is actually motion and children. Now if I save it, we have a motion. So motion basically means that the widget which animates when the slidable moves, we want the stretch motion animation. And for the children, you have to create a list, and inside that we need to create a slidable action. So this slidable action includes or requires onPressed function, because when we press this slidable action, what happens? So this is what it's asking for. And also it will requires some icon. So basically we want icons.delete. And now for the function, when we press this function, what happens? Basically we want to delete. So I'm going to first go to the constructor. Here I'm going to create let's just add a required here. I'm going to create a new function here, the final function, and this will be build context, and I'm going to name it delete function. And let's create a constructor, and here we will specify this delete function. And for the icon, let's remove this icon and again say icons.delete. And now we can save it. Now if I refresh this page and if I slide this, you see now we have a slidable delete function, but I want to change the border radius first. So for this, we can come to the slidable action. After the icon, you can say border radius.circular 15. And if I save it, now you see If I slide it, we have a delete function. You can also change the color of this slidable action. For example, color, background color, color.red. You see, it will change it, but I like the white color more here. So now let's work on this function. If I click on this delete function, this container should disappear. Basically, it should delete this list. So for this, we have created the delete function. So now we need to create this delete function. So inside a to-do list, let's make this required. And inside a home page, we need to create a delete function, and let's say delete task. And this delete function basically gets, it will get, the value. Delete function, and will specify the index. Sorry, it will not get the value, it will get the context because it's a build context, right? So now we will create a delete task. We will come here, and after the say task, we create a void delete task, and we'll specify the index. And inside a delete task, we'll create a set state, and we want to do list dot remove at and the index. And now if I save this, and for example, if I remove this drink coffee, as you can see, it will disappear. So now if I create a new task, for example, learning to do, and add it, you see we have created. Now we can check box this because we have already learned Flutter. You can say learn Flutter, and now if I delete this, it will disappear. So I think that's all about this. Here you see we don't have any padding. I just want to add more padding here. So for this, you can come to this floating action button, and inside this row you can wrap this widget with the padding, and let's say symmetric, horizontal, maybe 15 or 20. If I save it, now you see we have some padding on the left side as well, so you can add more to-dos. So that's all about it for this video. I hope this video was helpful. Please don't forget to comment and like this video. I will see you in the next videos.